Hello and welcome to Travelers Extras. Our Travelers podcast is normally centered around Destiny, but on Extras, we go off script and a little bit of a shorter show, usually about a half hour. I'm your host, The Helmet Fire, and joining me this evening is Erik Digital.
How's it going, guys?
So, like I said before, on Extras, our goal is to aim to kind of talk about not just Destiny. We'll talk a little bit about it, but we're also going to talk about some other stuff. We got E3 coming up, and like I said, we don't really follow a script, so these are going to be 30-minute increment shows in the middle of our Tuesday recordings for you listeners to have a little bit more content to listen to. So right off the bat, I do want to get into the TWAB because Tuesday we did talk about quite a bit. But this week, there's a couple of interesting things happening for the next update that's coming up. Primarily, they're going to introduce some exotic armor updates, and that's going to be for certain ones. So, right off the bat, like, how are you feeling, Erik, about the current exotics in the game? You know, in terms of armor, are there any go-tos that you have? You know, what would you like to see happen, and are there any changes you saw that you like so far?
I am excited about Lunafaction boots. Those look super cool. I think it'll be a nice utility for warlocks, for our weapon reloading. You know, the Hunter's got the dodge mechanic, and the Titan, of course, has the rally barricade. And then I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I got it pulled up too.
Looks super cool. I'm sorry if the audio goes. I'm still adjusting to this new mic, guys. So
right, you got a new mic, right? Tell the listeners what you got.
I picked up a Razer Siren Elite, but I need to get an arm for it because I don't like where it's at on my desk at this point. But
yeah.
Hopefully within a day or 2 or 3 days, I'll have it.
I know, man. I really need to order an arm for my snowball, but honestly, like, my setup's really mobile right now, so I think I'm still gonna have to wait a little bit. But yeah, that's no. The mic sounds really great, man. That's Razer's. You said it's a Razer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are super good.
Yeah, I'm super used to like moving around with my headset and not, you know, I'm sitting in a fixed position with this mic just aimed at me here.
Right.
But the line rapids look really cool. So you're gonna be able to hip fire while your lift is active. So imagine, you know, gliding across the screen while being able to hip fire.
No, that's really cool. And if I'm not mistaken, for the listeners listening in that maybe don't play every day, so the Lion Rampant are the Titan exotic leg armor that basically look like jump jets, like Iron Man stuff, and you can it gives you a lot of aerial mobility past the normal. And then I guess what they're doing now to change the perk is to make it, like Erik said, where the in-air accuracy on hipfire is not affected. So, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time in Destiny where you'll be able to like hipfire a gun at the same time as your mobility, like while you're moving or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
because usually, you know, the second you start shooting, you kind of fall out of the sky, and then that's it. You're done.
Right.
Unless you're, of course, you're a hunter, you know, just jumping around all over the place.
Or like the warlock with that that one chest piece for the warlock that lets you float in midair,
yeah.
but you're static, right? You're staying in one place, whereas this is you're actually moving, like left to right, front back, and that's actually pretty cool, man. And yeah, like you said, the Lunification boots for the warlock. So what they did with that is, like, while you have a rift on the ground, reload is basically automatic. So if y'all saw this Vidoc trailer that they did, or it's not a Vidoc, but like the marketing trailer they did for Warmind. They showed some, or maybe it wasn't in that trailer, but they showed a video, like a
it wasn't a trailer. I think it was just a short clip of
a preview video.
It wasn't short because that Titan was shooting that.
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. Is like that preview video they showed us.
Forever.
Yeah. So what they did with the Sweet Business in the first place is the Sweet Business exotic auto rifle, which is basically a minigun. They gave it deeper ammo reserves and a bigger clip, so essentially it can hold about 1,000 rounds. So with the Lunification boots, they made it so if you're standing in that rift, you just run the mag empty and from, you know, all the way from 1,000 down to 0 without ever reloading. It just keeps going like for 2 minutes straight. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Now, and going back to Lion Rampant, imagine that with the Skyburners oath, where you have the actual hip fire.
Oh, dude, the hip firing tracking nades basically from the sky.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm looking.
Oh my god.
Because there's so many exotics right now, like especially with armor, that I don't use a lot. Like I haven't taken off Ophidian aspects on my Warlock since I got them. Usually Dune Martyrs stay on my Titan, and then of course Orpheus rigs. The only time they come off is if I need to run Celestial Nighthawk. So
Right.
it'll be nice. I haven't touched a lot of the new exotics that I've got since Warmind released.
Right.
There was a handful that I think you get during but either during or after the story. But yeah, I still haven't played much with them. Oh, Xur came out today with the new Warlock robe. So
yeah, the Sanguine, whatever it is.
Alchemies.
Oh man! So for the listeners, this new Warlock exotic chest piece basically will track high level enemy targets if you're standing in a rift. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, and the cool part about it is in Crucible, Guardians are considered high level enemies. So if you're standing in that rift with this Warlock, so if I'm to understand this correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm a Warlock and I have it and I have the rift down, and you're a hunter and you step in my rift, you can track too, right?
Yep. Your allies will gain the benefits from the rift.
Right, and they can track. It tracks out to like 30 meters or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Which, just for perspective, on the Burnout map, that's about half the distance from the center of the map to the edges of the map, right? It's about halfway, which is so literally you have this marker on your Guardian. You can track them through walls. I mean, now some people might say it's OP. It's situational. You have to have a Warlock that has it, and then you got to stand in the rift, and that makes you stationary too. So you're kind of a sitting duck. So I think it's kind of a good balance.
Yeah. I mean, usually if I pop my rift in Crucible, it's because I need to get my health back. So you already know where some of your targets are.
Right.
Yeah. So if you got to do it preemptively, then you're going to lose your rift if you need it later on. Or
what do you think about that for Trials players that have no radar and it's a high stakes game? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I couldn't speak to it very highly because I don't play a lot of Crucible. Most of my Crucible time is in the casual playlist or the quick play.
Right.
But I'm sure if for some people it'll be a game changer.
I think
the high level players will be able to get around that regardless.
Yeah, I know a lot of the community really doesn't like the current state of competitive, especially with the no radar. It seems to encourage a lot of camping, and then I could see it being reinforced with this. So imagine now you got a team of all Warlocks with this chess piece, just for shits and giggles here. But like, imagine if they're all using that, trying to track people down. It's like, I mean, I don't think it would create a huge benefit. You're camping, you're in one spot.
Yeah, I mean, your advantage is very small window.
How much would you be giving up to even utilize it that way, right? But right. I think in PvE it'd be really good, like in the raid. If I'm trying to heal and there's a lot of ads, it could kind of help me see where the ads are a little bit better and paint a bigger picture. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but maybe.
Yeah, curious to see how it plays out. So.
Yeah, it's a cool gimmick that I would like to definitely try it out because I just got it myself. Funny enough, I had that drop from a purple engram at the Cryptarch the day before Xur came, which was today, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I got it yesterday, last night when I was playing. It popped from a freaking purple, and I was like, what?
Awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
And then he sold it, and I'm like, damn, I wish he was selling something else now.
Did you get anything good for the faded engram?
I haven't bought it yet. I was at work all day today, so I gotta still get on and grab that and see what it gives me. I already have the Huckleberry and funny enough, I did manage to get the ornament for it too.
Nice.
I'm still kind of iffy on that gun. I think I don't know. I'm kind of getting used to it. SMGs are not my normal playstyle. I like scouts and autos. My up close game is usually not SMGs, so I got to play with it a little bit more.
Yeah, I picked up Huckleberry from my faded engram today, so now I can take it out there and see what it does. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm terrible with an SMG. I'm all over the place. My aim is I just can't use it. I've tried anti-open Crucible, just got mowed down with it while trying to use it. So I just funny.
It's so funny how Bungie. Now, Anti-Ope is a different animal. Like for SMGs, Anti-Up has a lot of range, but most SMGs really do play to their range and what they're built for. So what I mean by that is if I try to shoot something from a medium to long distance with an SMG, my recoil is everywhere. But somehow, if they're medium to close range, like inside medium, like I don't have any problem with the recoil control. It's kind of weird. It's almost like, well, the damage fall off is something to take into consideration, but just the recoil patterns and everything seem to really narrow down the closer the enemy is, which is what they're built for. So it's definitely a different playstyle that I know I got to get used to.
Yeah.
So the armor exotics that they're bringing us are not all of them. It's just 2 for each class just to start off with. There's a lot more that they're going to work on, but that's kind of one of the big pieces of this update that are coming.
When did they say the Masterwork armor is? When's that supposed to happen? Is that?
I can check. I think that's on their roadmap for the fall.
Okay, so
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Let's see. No, July.
Okay.
Well, no. I don't actually see anything on the roadmap for exotic Masterwork armor.
Okay.
So, yeah, we might need to find out more about that because they're showing exotic armor sandbox changes right now in May for those 6 pieces. And then July says more exotic armor sandbox changes.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. July is also going to host some new event called Solstice of Heroes, seasonal event. They're going to bring back bounties, expansion 1 and 2 raid layer prestige modes, PC clan text chat, year 1 triumphs, whatever that is, and then the armor exotic stuff. So that ought to be pretty interesting. I don't know what that event's going to be. I kind of would like SRL to come back in some capacity, but that doesn't seem to be what this is. We don't know.
And that's historically been a winter event, hasn't it?
Yes, historically, true.
So
Yep.
it's kind of like a holdover through the holidays.
Right.
There's not much else to do.
Yeah, and between now and then, I mean, obviously we have the May update, then we have whatever they're bringing in July, which ought to be a pretty beefy what we call live events in Destiny. It's not a DLC, but it's just a little bit of content to kind of hold us over until September. The September expansion is poised to be very huge, taking king size, maybe bigger, lots of very heavy, deep-rooted mechanical changes to the game and how it works with weapon slotting, random weapon roll type things, obviously new campaigns and all that, raids.
So I wonder when that happens, like what happens to our existing weapons? Do those get left behind, or do those are there going to be versions of those that have random rolls, or
I'm curious too, because it seems like they would do something like what they did with Masterwork, right? It's like you can, from this day forward, Masterworks will drop randomly, but you have the ability to make current existing weapons into Masterworks. So I imagine whatever weapon rolling, weapon slot roll changes, weapon randomization that they're doing, I would imagine they'd have to incorporate it in some capacity like that to accommodate people's gear, because at that point they're going to have a year's worth of gear to in their vaults. So the September expansion, this is a good segue too, because this is where we talk about E3 and some different stuff besides Destiny. E3 is coming up, literally in a matter of weeks. It's very close. I believe it's the second week in June or something like that. Pretty soon here. And there are a ton of games. Eric, I know you're mainly a Destiny guy. Me, I am too, but I definitely do play other titles. I play Rocket League with my buddy pretty often. God of War I did not buy, but I did pretty much watch 90% of the campaign, and I know what happens, and I watched it on Twitch. That's if it's a game I know I'm not going to buy, but I still want to experience, I'll use my time to watch Twitch to check those out. And man, those guys did a hell of a job. It was an amazing game.
Yeah, it was nuts to see all the early reviews come out for God of War, and it's just, wow, this game is really just knocked it out of the park. So I'm curious. Maybe Black Friday buy at like $30 or $40. I might pick it up. Who knows if I'll play it, because I got this backlog of games that I haven't touched.
Right? Don't we all, huh?
Yeah. But I will say, for as far as E3, one game I will take a break from Destiny to play once it's out, and I don't think it'll be out anytime. I don't think it'll be out in 18, but is The Last of Us 2.
Oh yes, that's a very highly anticipated.
I'm excited to see what they do with if they show anything for that.
I was gonna say,
which I'm sure they will.
I have no idea. I would have to research to see if there's anything planned for that at E3. But the main titles that I'm really excited about are Anthem. The only footage that is out there right now is from last E3, last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was a very introductory thing, but they did show some Real World Engine gameplay, which was just it's an interesting game because it looks like it has the potential to be this amazing looter shooter that, if they do it right, could very easily compete with Destiny, which would be an industry first, because Destiny is such a unique title that there's not really been anything to compete with it yet. There are some outliers that are kind of close, but in that genre, Destiny has kind of created its own subgenre. You know, it's looter shooter, it's got MMO aspects. It's obviously a shooter first and foremost, but the loot aspect and the raids, the 6-player first-person shooter raid experience is just not done anywhere else.
So Anthem's a third-person.
It's an over-the-shoulder. It's an over-the-shoulder
like
third-person.
Gears of War style.
Right, exactly. But it's open world. This is everything we know about it. It's open world. It's definitely a looter shooter. There's loot you get from defeating enemies in the world. It's a open world explorable universe, so when they fly around, like they went underwater and there was caverns they could have explored. There's floating island off in the distance that you could go to, and it's made by BioWare, you know, which obviously is the people that made Mass Effect. And they've actually delayed this game to early 2019, March I believe, which is the farthest they could push it back for financial reasons, come to find out. But they pushed it back because of the loot box controversy from EA, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and subsequently Destiny 2. So they've had the opportunity in their development cycle to pull back the reins on some systems that they probably were going to implement and rework them because of the loot box controversy in the community. You know, the last thing they want, especially after the downfall of Mass Effect 4, and that, you know, kind of failure, is to launch a brand new IP and then experience the same issues right over again. So they kind of got lucky in the fact that they had time to pull the reins back a little bit for their development. But it is really, they're going to have gameplay at E3 this year. There's going to be people that are going to get their hands on it. There's going to be a ton of new footage. And once again, this could potentially shape up to be a game that competes with Destiny on a very high level. So we have yet to find out. Very excited about that. Yeah, I totally recommend checking out the footage if anyone out there hasn't seen it yet, and go check that out. But another game, the big title, obviously, there's a Call of Duty every year. Well, this year is Treyarch's. They're making quite a move. Treyarch is coming out with Black Ops 4. They've already announced the zombies. They've already announced, obviously, the multiplayer. They've showed multiplayer gameplay. They had their reveal a few days back on the 17th, I believe. But the big reveal announcement, and it was just an announcement video. They haven't shown any gameplay yet, but the biggest reveal is there's no story campaign whatsoever. And instead, they're doing the Black Ops version of Battle Royale. And the map and characters are all going to be based on current existing assets in the Zombies universe and the campaign universe and the Black Ops universe. So you'll see characters from Zombies, you'll see characters from the campaigns, you'll see, and the map, it's one big map, 1,500 times the size of Nuketown, which is insane to think about. But the map is going to be comprised of pieces from pre-existing maps from all the Zombies and multiplayer maps from before. So it's going to be this big hodgepodge of a map with all these cool features, but it's also going to have land, air, and sea vehicles that you can use. The rumor right now is 120 players, and if that's true, that'll break past the current 100-player that we've been playing in PUBG and Fortnite and stuff. Once again, there hasn't been any gameplay shown. That could be a possibility at E3. Everyone's really anticipating that. And because the game comes out in October, so we should absolutely see gameplay. But what do you think? Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think about Battle Royale in general, and have you played any? If so, which ones? What do you think about Black Ops?
I gave Fortnite about an hour, and it didn't grab me. But I'm bad about that. I'll play a game for an hour, and it could be the best game in the world, and if it doesn't grab me within that first hour, I'm not going to play it. Fortnite, it's huge right now, but I just I haven't played enough of it, I guess, to really give it a fair
chance. And it's a Battle Royale game. You know, the formula to a Battle Royale game is pretty straightforward. It's, it's be the last man standing, basically, right? You know, how you get there can be done a multitude of ways, but the formula is pretty much the same. You know, H1Z1 was, to my knowledge, one of the first ones to really do it. And then the guy behind PUBG, I think his name is Brandon Green, Player Unknown.
Yep.
I think he was part of the H1Z1 development team, or he had some affiliation. I don't know exactly what, so forgive me if I don't have all my facts. But I know he came over from that and started PUBG, and obviously that was just a huge hit, still really big. Fortnite has definitely surpassed it. And then we've seen a couple other games, like Radical Heights came out, and I mean, I think that game was developed in like 5 months. It's very buggy, but it's another option, right? We have Islands of Nine. That's another option that I've seen people play. So Battle Royale, everyone's chomping at the bit to get a piece of that pie, right? But the interesting thing about Black Ops and what they're doing, and the mode is going to be called Blackout, and they're really stressing, like, this is going to be Battle Royale. It's no secret, but we're going to do it the Black Ops way. We're going to, so they're really, and I find it interesting because I've always wondered what Call of Duty, I'm actually blown away that they're doing it, because I was like, dang, PUBG and Fortnite and like that style of gameplay is so interesting, but I wonder how that would look in a Call of Duty, setting, and damn if they're not going to do it. I'm so excited to see gameplay.
I think part of what didn't grab me about Fortnite was the over-the-shoulder perspective.
The third person?
Yeah, and after playing so much Destiny and thousands of hours into Destiny, like the feeling when you shoot a gun in Destiny, there's really no other game that feels that good, to me at least.
Right.
So I'm playing Fortnite, I'm fumbling around trying to figure out the controls, and I think I'm shooting at something, and it just didn't feel crisp. That's what, and going back to Anthem, I'm curious to see how Anthem will play out. I'll give it a shot. If I don't like it,
you know what I find? Yeah, the thing about Anthem, I don't know. Have you seen that E3 trailer from last year?
Yeah.
So you saw some of the gameplay. You saw what it looks like, right? I mean,
yeah.
Because like for me, I feel like visually,
the movement looks really cool with there's like jetpack style movement, right? If I remember right.
And straight up Iron Man style flying too.
Yeah.
Like you could straight up fly wherever in your javelin. Which for the listeners, the javelin is like, so Anthem is like you're still a person, you're a human, but like you have these exosuits that they call javelins, and it's like a mix of mech, like a mech warrior, like a literal mech meets Iron Man type of suit. So you jump in this javelin, but you basically turn into like an Iron Man version of a mech. You can fly around, you have all your guns, some of them are shoulder mounted, there's going to be a lot of customization. And I mean, it's like really freaking cool, man. You can kind of fly anywhere, and it's a seamless transition underwater to overland or flying. And I mean, they have a lot of potential. I cannot wait to see what they do with it, because I could see this, for me personally, being a game that I put just as much time in as I do Destiny. And if so, that'll be the first one since Destiny came out.
So many games. Yeah, E3's big. October's always an expensive month, but
yeah, Throwing that cash. I know, dude. There's always a new game or a new console or some peripheral, like the VR is big right now. You know, they still got some cool stuff going on with that. Another game, I tell you this, another game that I'm really looking to see. I'm kind of hoping they show more stuff about this year because it's been a few years since the last time we've seen anything on it. Is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now,
You know, I missed out on the Final Fantasy VII. Now I know that like Seven's like the big one, like the best Final Fantasy.
Oh
game.
man,
So many people, it's so highly regarded, but I never played it. I haven't played
dude,
an RPG
like
in so
hands down, you have to experience that game. And I got to tell you, it is going to take you a long time to complete. It is one of the most, like, it's a very long, I mean, even on PlayStation 1, it was 3 discs. I mean, it was,
wow.
yeah, and it was, it came out in 97. Yeah, it was 3 discs. I still have a original white disc copy with the book and everything. It's pretty crazy. But that game, I don't even know how many hours. It's a ton, man. And there's so many, and it's all turn-based, you know. It's all turn-based like the old school. And the funny thing about for years and years and years, people were like, you know, we want the remake, and finally they started doing it. Well, the only bad thing is it's such a big game that it's just to bring that whole story and all the characters and everything about it up to today's standards and graphics. I mean, that is a huge undertaking. It's been like 3 years since they kind of like announced it and showed some early gameplay of how it would look and stuff.
Right.
And even that back then, a few years ago, it's like I'm like just chomping at the bit. Please win, you know. And they said that, and this is a while back. I haven't heard any updates, but they said that they actually couldn't even make the entire game in one release. So they're going to have to put it in multiple releases just because of the scale of it, you know. And then on today's graphics and engines and everything else, you're talking 20 years ago, basically, you know, from the graphics from then to now and just how things work. And, you know, they're not going to go turn-based, so it's going to play a little bit different. But yeah, I would love to see some more gameplay on that. But yeah, man, there's so many games coming up that I'm excited about. But Anthem, whatever the fall expansion is for Destiny 2, I mean, those are the top 2. And then Black Ops 4 for me, I think will be the big. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out. That's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I picked up Red Dead Redemption, the original, for the Xbox One, Xbox One X, because they had that 4K patch.
Nice.
I need to carve out some time away from Destiny so I could play it.
I don't know how we're gonna do that when we get all this escalation protocol to grind out, man.
Escalation protocol, and then I did a couple raids today. Did I do my Hunter? I can't remember. Well, anyways, I did my Titan this evening, and I ran through Leviathan and an Eater of Worlds and just got hit with some really bad RNG.
Wow.
ran through both those raids, not a single piece of armor dropped. It's just weapons.
Oh, that's dirty.
So
That's not even
I
fair.
didn't need any of that stuff. That
Oh,
they just
come
kept
on.
throwing at me.
Not, you know, I haven't even ran my second and third characters through the campaign yet because I'm still trying to get to like the 370s on my Warlock.
Oh, it'll happen so much faster with 3.
If I do it and just give them
Yeah.
the weapons.
Yep.
Yeah, I probably should do that, man. Probably on my next days off because this is the first time in a while we've had a real grind, and I got to tell you, man, for a solo player, it's pretty hard, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I LFG'd for a Nightfall last night and got that knocked out, but it bumped me a couple. I'm right at about 360 now, so
All right.
I'm inching away at it, but man, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
well,
And you
anyway,
get out of work pretty late, right? So
some days, yeah. This weekend's.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say we should team up sometime this weekend. Yeah, if I'm open this weekend with the long holiday, so I plan on trying to get into Aspire of Stars sometime this weekend.
I tell you what, man, if I can hit that light level, I'll definitely hit you up. But I got some work to do, man.
Yeah,
yeah, for real.
I didn't want to be below 370 before I even tried, so now I'm in the 380, so I'm ready.
Well, all right, man. Well, it sounds good, man. Well, I think that'll about wrap it up for this episode of Extras. I think we got some good conversation in and something a little bit more content for the viewers or listeners to chew on. So thanks for joining me tonight, man.
Yep.
So
thanks.
where can people find you?
I am on Twitter on Erik_Digital_.
Nice. My name is The Helmet Fire. You can follow me on Twitter at The Helmet Fire. And this, of course, has been Travelers, a Destiny podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at TravelersPC. We are on SoundCloud as well, so you just search Travelers Podcast. We're going to label this episode Extras, number 1. And we should be doing more content like this in the future. Like I said, these our main recording days for the main show with all of our hosts is going to be on Tuesday evenings, and then that's usually on SoundCloud that evening or the next day. And then extras are always going to not really have a schedule. We just kind of get together, whether it's myself and one other or 2 of the other hosts if they want to do it, and just kind of go off script and add some extra content for the week. And those won't really have a set schedule, but just keep a lookout for them, keep a listen out. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening in, and we'll see you all next time on Travelers.